that threshold was a bit
Turns out that's too hard.
Yeah.
And it's...
The DoD stuff, though, I mean, because your argument is if we make superintelligence, we can't guess how it will kill us, but it will find a way. And does that mean that you're relatively unmoved about whether or not the Department of Defense has unrestricted access to advanced AI? Because ultimately, if the advanced AI can't kill us with fully autonomous drones, which it's been provided access to by the Pentagon, it will find a different way. Is this sort of arranging deck chairs on the Titanic?
It feels pretty deck chairs on the Titanic-ish to me. Even if it is given access to Pentagon autonomous drones, it might find another way to kill us because, the autonomous drones just probably aren't actually the most effective way to do so if you can invent your own technology, right? Like, again, we're sort of talking about automating the thing that lets humans start with their bare hands and wind up with nukes. From an AI's perspective, a very, very smart AI that can make lots of copies of itself, that can run very quickly, that can run its own technology, that's in charge of a lot of robots, building its own supply chain out. Probably it's just easier and faster if, so it might not even worry about killing the humans if it doesn't worry about us too much. Maybe it just keeps on building automated factories that produce more robots, that produce more factories, that produce more robots, and those just spread through the continents, and humans just die underfoot. And it just defends itself if we sort of send in humans with guns. Maybe it doesn't try to actively kill us, or maybe if it worries about the nukes, it tries to actively kill us. But it's probably faster to do that with a virus once it's at the point where it doesn't need us than it is to do it with guns that the Pentagon happened to hand it. So whether or not it really gets access to Pentagon weaponry, I think that has very little to do with whether the AI is dangerous on a civilizational scale. That's more about, is it really smart yet? Can it escape the lab? Can it autonomously reproduce? Can it make smarter AIs? Those are where the sort of civilization-threatening lines are. What we can see with the DoD stuff is who has what kinds of principles. And unfortunately, I think this is just a situation where having principles, having good intent, being willing to stand up for what you think is right, those aren't enough to make the AI happen to really care about what you wished it cared about.
Because obviously, I mean, I suppose you can say Dario Amodei looks a lot better than Sam Altman at this moment, because Dario Amodei sort of said, I've got these red lines, I'm not moving them. And Sam Altman comes in and says, oh, okay, we'll provide you a model with no limits. So, I mean, it's all relative, isn't it? And he looks braver. Or less sort of purely cynical.
Sure, but this is all monkey politics around who gets to stand closest to the suicide bomb when they press the suicide bomb button, right?
So
sure, one person's a more moral person who, or maybe one person is sort of has more principles, and the more principled person presses the kill everybody button. It's okay, can we not press the kill everybody button?
And I think what Dario Amodei should, I suppose actually. So a question I have, do you think Dario Amodei has and I'm focusing on him because he seems like the one who most plausibly does have some principles, right? Sam Altman, I think, does seem like potentially just a cynical sociopath. I don't know the guy, but that's sort of an impression I have formed. Dario Amodei seems like a more reasonable person. Do you think he has an intellectual disagreement with you?
I think the people who start these companies are selected for thinking they're going to be able to keep control of very, very powerful AIs. I've had a number of debates on this issue with Dario over the years. I'm not entirely sure whether how you classify the disagreement. Dario these days is less skilled than his company's chatbot at summarizing the arguments for why alignment is difficult. Sometimes he'll write things where he's we'll have it under control because of this, that, or the other. And you don't need to listen to these concerns because of this or that reason. And you can just go ask Claude, his company's chatbot, what might somebody worried about AI alignment say to this? And it'll have, quite a bit better understanding of the difficulties than Dario writes. Is this because like Dario has